Hi, this is Stephanie Stock with Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom. We are speaking this evening with Republican candidate Don Manning from District 59, hoping to get to know him a little bit better so viewers can get to know your platform. Maybe if you'd like to just tell a bit about yourself before we get started into questions, that'd be great.
Absolutely. My name is Don Manning. For anybody that doesn't know me, you introduced me. I am currently on the Middletown Village Council. And I've been involved in public service for most of my life. Actually, I caught the bug kind of when I was about 10 years old. First time I met a congressman, and I was drawn towards public service ever since that moment. And I've been involved in the community and different activities ever since.
Okay, great. What do you want to touch briefly a little on your platform? Some things that are important to you.
Absolutely. Here in Northeast Ohio, especially in the 59th district, we've been left out of a lot of the economic development that the rest of the state is experiencing. The rest of the state, like the three C's, have been doing very well: Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati. And we kind of get overlooked. And I want to go to Columbus and make sure that doesn't happen. I will be the person that they can, that won't shut up until they hear our message that we need help here too.
Oh, that's good. We like people that won't shut up. We tend to be that kind of organization ourselves, possibly known. I met Don a couple of years ago. When he was running against Bashari this last time, and he was kind enough to come to a Vax event we had to try to raise awareness about vaccine injury in the community. And Don spoke a little bit there, as did Bashari. And he let everybody know that even though he made the choice to vaccinate his children, he was very much in support of parental rights. That definitely needs to fall in the hands of the parent and not the government or the doctor. I mean, that's a choice that we need to make. So we've always respected you for that and appreciate that about you. What in your own life made you receptive to Ohioans' concerns about informed consent and medical freedom specifically? Or did the first time we approached you with that, was that when you first really kind of heard about the issue?
That actually is the first time that I heard about the issue. And since then, I've done a lot of research, but it falls in line with my basic beliefs. I'm one of these guys that I believe that in smaller government, lower regulations, smaller taxes, and anytime we've got the opportunity to keep government out of our private lives, I'm on board, because I just feel that we look at the things like our United States Constitution. It was written specifically to limit the powers of government. And I think when government feels that they can force the people to put things into their body that they don't necessarily agree with, there's a problem with that.
Yeah, it's definitely wrong. We've used the term unconstitutional, although they fight us on that all the time. I'm not sure where the disconnect is, because it seems pretty clear to anybody who would read through it. Perhaps that's the issue, to read the Constitution. Yes. Have you heard any stories in particular, or since we met a couple of years ago, I guess it's probably more on your radar, the issue, but have people come to you and talk to you about the vaccine issue or medical freedom issues? Have they told you any personal stories?
Yeah, no, fortunately, I don't know of anybody personally that has any relationship with a vaccine injured child, but I've read the research. I know that it's possible. I know it can happen. And if, again, I'm against the government telling us that we have to put things that certain people would consider poisons into our bodies or into our children's bodies without giving us a choice.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think other legislators realize that the U.S. state constitutions for Ohio really do seek to protect conscious and religious beliefs, or do you think they've missed the boat on that? We sort of think they have.
I think a lot of people are aware, and I think a lot of people feel like I do and feel like you do about personal choice on this type of thing. Are there some out there that don't? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, our current state representative, who I'm not running against this time, he's decided to go on and get beat somewhere else. There are people like him that believe that the government knows best. And is very similar to my opponent now. He's a big government thinker, higher taxes, more control, and it goes against everything I've ever known, everything I believe in.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I had mentioned it to you before, but when we went to meet with Bashari before that event, he actually suggested segregated schools for non-vaccinating children. And I thought to myself, wow, I have really heard it all now from politicians. That did me in, dude. I'm telling you what, my mouth just dropped.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you too, one of the best arguments I've heard of for your case here, especially, was that someone said, well, the unvaccinated children in schools pose a danger to my child, but if their child is vaccinated and vaccinations work, there is no risk.
Right. Yeah. And we do get that a lot. And everybody just kind of says, well, vaccines don't work unless y'all get them. And it either something works or it doesn't. It doesn't work because somebody
Right.
else. So yeah, there's a lot of jumble there. That's why it definitely needs to be in the parents' hands and certainly nobody else's. I'm wondering how you feel about the issue of medical and other trade organizations influencing policy and what you think those effects have.
Unfortunately, it's a part of the political world on a national level and a state level where lobbyists from especially big money organizations, they can influence policy, which can be perceived as a bad thing in a lot of cases, but also could be perceived in a good thing. Because if we've got something that maybe people don't know about that is effective, or something that is very beneficial to society as a whole, I'm not against letting people promote their ideas if it's something that works. However, in particular with the vaccines, it's got to be something that's tested, and it doesn't appear that there's enough evidence of the right type of testing for vaccinations that we're forcing parents to give to their kids.
Yeah, definitely that is an issue. And I mean, after the Supreme Court rules they're unavoidably unsafe, we have the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. We've had $4 billion in payouts there. It's obvious there's a certain amount of children that will die as a result of vaccination, and so forcing that on a parent is unethical, definitely unconstitutional. We've been pretty disheartened a lot of times when we've gone down to the State House, because there's always lobbyists there. They're always being allowed to have unlimited time to speak. We're seeming to have our voices be stifled, and feeling like our actions are a little insignificant sometimes. What would you tell Ohioans that they could do to have the biggest impact at the State House?
Well, first of all, one of the things you brought up right there, equal time. If you've got two valid sides to an argument, they should be given absolutely equal time, especially when there's evidence, scientific evidence, backing both sides. Because I know I've heard people cite from the other side that they're safe and there's medical studies for this, that, and the other. All a group like yours too, you should be given equal time. Just like in a courtroom, you should have a chance to be given your time to make your argument. And that's one of the things that I'll do in Columbus is I will fight for everybody, for anytime we've got a bill that comes up to the House, especially if there's opposing forces, that everybody gets equal time to make their argument before the House would vote on it. Because without all the evidence, without all the information, voting on it is kind of like voting on a healthcare bill without actually reading it.
Oh, you mean you don't want to pass it and then see what it says?
No, I'd like to be able to read it first, with enough time for everybody to read it, both sides and everybody in the House.
Well, you're one step ahead of a lot of our politicians, Don. So they're so. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your time answering these questions. We appreciate your stance on this especially, and I wish you the best of luck. I hope everybody that goes to the polls in November remembers these important issues of medical freedom, informed consent, and parental choice. And remember that your vote is definitely power. We don't have a lot, but we have votes, and we can use those to make a big difference at the State House. So everybody stay on board with getting down there to vote and making sure that medical freedom is top priority this year. Thank you so much, Don, again, and have a great night.
Thank you. You too.